If it's something that you're really good at and you got a communications degree, why don't you go do it? Why don't you go intern? Why don't you go do it for free? Hey man, I used to be a coach. How many hours do you think I worked for free before I ever got my big break, so to speak? A bunch. I can't tell you how many 100-hour weeks I went, how many times I didn't eat, how many nights I didn't go to sleep, watching film, whatever it took to be able to break into coaching. Are you willing to do that? Hi, I'm Scot Ferrell. Welcome to What's Your Problem? Great topic today. Well, I'm going to say that every show because it's my show, right? Anxiety. Why are we so anxious, man? Why are we always anxious about everything? Well, I'm going to answer that question. Now, if you have any questions ahead of time, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. WYP Podcast, how you reach me. If you have a question I have not addressed, send it to me. Be glad to answer that. All right, so let's get into the meat of the topic today, anxiety. Well, if you haven't experienced it, you're dead. Probably, because most of us have achieved anxiety at some point in our life. This past weekend, I was at a wedding. I saw a lot of anxious people. Now, it's funny to watch. Now, I'm not talking about the couple. They're fine. I'm talking about single guys who have girlfriends. You see guys start to get a little antsy. They feel like, I got the look. If you ever saw Wedding Crashers, they talk about the look. A lot of guys aren't getting the look. They just think they are. But they get all anxious about it. And I always ask guys, what's so bad about a young lady wanting to marry you? Or thinking you're worth marrying? You ought to be glad she wants to. So that's one anxiety, but general anxiety is what I'm talking about. Now, most anxiety is external, not internal. Let me go ahead and get the medical disclaimer out of the way. I'm not a doctor. If anxiety is medically based, go see a doctor. It's that simple. I'm pro-medical profession. So if there's a medical issue, only a medical doctor can handle it. So let's get that off the table now. What I'm more talking about is external, spiritual. I'm handling that anxiety today. Now, where does most anxiety come from? Well, let's look at the biological factors. Programming has a lot to do with humans, right? So as a human, I am programmed from 0 to 7. This is what I teach. I do behavior. Well, originally, what happens is everything, once we're in the womb, everything for that 0 to 9 time, and then once we're born, everything affects us. We can absorb the anxiety from our mother. We absorb everything from the external. So we can come out of the womb, and you can look this up on the internet, with a feeling of anxiety. Are the mothers anxious? What do they do? What are their habits? What are they eating? What are they listening to? What are they doing? What are their feelings? All these things do matter because they're joined cellularly. So that does matter. Okay, and then once you're born, what's the environment like? Is it stress-filled? Is there loud music, loud noises? What's going on? What do you smell? Are you going here, there, and everywhere? Or is it calm? Yes, we can develop anxiety from the way we're programmed. Now, I don't want to spend as much time on that right now, but that's one way. All right, what's another way? Let's say that you're an adult. What are you anxious about? Well, fear, worry, doubt, not knowing who you are, not understanding if you were created, not really believing in a God, life having no meaning. Yeah, that can stress you out, right? Not knowing where your next paycheck's coming, your company's being merged, you turned on the TV, you turned on the radio, you picked up a newspaper, you're at the grocery store and you're reading the hot sheets, as I call them, National Enquirer, The Star, The Sun, People Magazine, and Time Magazine, normally on the there. And think about it. While you're reading these things, is there anything positive? Is there anything that does not stimulate anxiety? No, it's not supposed to. It's supposed to make you anxious. It's supposed to make you stirred up. It's supposed to make it to where they can control you. Especially if you listen to radio, what is it? Stress, 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 and fear, fear, fear. And then you turn on, it's like if you're at the airport. You can't get away from it. Why? Every single TV's on. They're all loud. And they're all on the news. And the news's entire job is to make you afraid of life in general. And then make you think you're dying from all the pharmaceutical ads. And make you think that you have every illness under the sun. You're a hypochondriac by the time you get out of watching TV. Oh, I got that, and I got that, and I got that, and I got that. Well, I think I have some of those symptoms, and I have some of those symptoms. And, you know, my mom said I had this, and maybe I can take this. And Stop the madness. Stop the craziness. Turn the TV off. Guess what? If you stop the external from controlling you, can you stop, for the most part, if it's not medically induced, the anxiety? Absolutely. All right, so since I'm solving this problem, I've just named off the problem. Why don't we solve it? Let's say you have non-medical anxiety brought on either by your programming or the fact that you don't know who you are, where you're going, or what you're going to do, and you have not picked a career, and you haven't picked a spouse, and you're basically lost in life. Okay, we can fix this. Number one thing to do, turn off the externals. What do I mean? Turn off the media. Stop watching the news. I haven't seen the news in 6 years. I haven't watched TV, real TV, outside of turning on Premier League soccer for 8 years. I don't think I missed it. Apparently, I haven't missed anything. It's kind of like back in college. We would come home in between classes, and you always have a roommate or somebody that's watching a soap opera. And it's funny because I flipped them on the other day. My mom, when I was a child in the 60s, my mom watched a story called General Hospital and then All My Children and Days of Our Lives. If you turn on one of those today, I think one of them is still there. Some of the people that were on that soap opera then are still there, and the storylines are still basically the same. So I haven't missed anything. So turn off the media, turn off the TV. Okay, that's two things out of the way. Stop reading any print. I haven't read a newspaper since the internet was born. Why? Well, why did I read a newspaper? Read the sports scores. I always read sports. When I was traveling, USA Today was always at my doorstep. I always stayed somewhere where they left the paper at the front of the door, and I would read through the sports. I'd take it down for breakfast, drink my coffee, eat my breakfast, read sports, and that was it, and throw the rest up in the garbage. So stop reading print, stop listening to news. Now radio, golly, do kids even listen to radio now? Spotify? No, I'm getting a no. Okay, camera people agree. They're at the age where nobody listens to radio now. Hey, I'm a radio person. That hurts me. Radio's still good. You got to listen, especially talk radio, at least to my show. But for the most part, people don't listen to radio, so they pick and choose what they want to listen to. All right, so then what else is there to cause anxiety? Oh, here we go. Not knowing, were we created, were we not? What I'm supposed to do the rest of my life as a career. Am I supposed to be dating or am I not? Am I supposed to get married? Am I supposed to have kids? What kind of money do I want to make? Where do I want to live? Yeah, those things cause anxiety if you don't have a plan. So here's an idea. Let's hear me out on this one. Why don't you make a plan? Let's say, for argument's sake, you're 25 years old. Now, if you're my age, that's a whole different story, but you're 25 years old, you're trying to figure out who you are, where you're going. Okay, cool. Let's say you've gone to college, but you went to college and got a degree that not necessarily lends itself to getting a job right out of college. So let's say you got a communications degree, not an engineering degree. All right, so communications. So what do you want to do? So I'm going to ask an engineer the same thing. I just left Huntsville, Alabama. That's why I'm talking about engineering. A lot of engineers there. So let's say, what are the three things that you could do professionally that you're the best at? Okay, maybe you could do those. Maybe you could do that as a career. What is it? Can you make a living doing it? Now, if it's making pottery for 5-year-olds, probably not. But if it's something that you're really good at and you got a communications degree, why don't you go do it? Why don't you go intern? Why don't you go do it for free? Hey man, I used to be a coach. How many hours do you think I worked for free before I ever got my big break, so to speak? A bunch. I can't tell you how many 100-hour weeks I went, how many times I didn't eat, how many nights I didn't go to sleep, watching film, whatever it took to be able to break into coaching. Are you willing to do that? All right, so we're going to take anxiety off the table. Are you worth dating? So, all right, now we've handled professional, let's go to dating. Are you worth dating? Do you want to date? Do you want to get married? If you do want to get married, do you have all the things that the other sex would want to marry? Make a list of go around, if let's say you're a guy, go around and ask girls what they want in a man. All right, so write them all down and then do that. I think that's pretty good market research, right? So if you want to go on a date and you ask 10 girls randomly, what do you want in a man? And if it's not illegal or immoral, you could probably do that and you'd probably be safe, right? Because I wrote a book recently, What Men Don't Get About Women. I asked women, what were the 3 things that men don't get? And here were the 3 things. They wanted to be respected, they wanted to be communicated with, or open communication, dialogue, and they wanted to be appreciated. Okay, so then I went and asked men the same question. The men gave me the same 3 answers. So I realized that there's a book, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, or it's the other way around. Are we really? When both sexes told me, randomly asking questions, the same 3 things. Respect, communication, appreciation. That's simple. Okay, if it's that simple, then why don't we just do it? Now, we're talking about getting rid of anxiety, right? So we've handled professional, we've handled sex life or getting married and getting dating, handled that. So now let's handle spiritual. You have to ask a question, you have to ask a question. You're probably going to ask this question the rest of your life every single day. Why was I created? Why am I here? Is there a God? And does it all make sense? Now, I run into a lot of people when I travel that went to church as kids and no longer attend church. And I'll ask, why don't you go to church anymore? And they'll say, because it didn't make any sense. Nobody can answer my questions. I didn't see the meaning. I didn't get it. I didn't see it at home when I got home. That's just the start of the answers I get. Well, here's the thing. We're created beings by our God. And until we decide that we've been created for a reason, for a rhyme, a thing to do, we have a purpose, we have a specific thing we're going to do, then we're going to feel detached. We're not going to know who we are, where we're going, what we've got to get done, and it's going to hold up our lives. It's amazing how freeing it is once you decide, okay, I've been created, here's why I was created, and now I'm going to go do it. Okay, that takes a whole layer of anxiety off. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. So I'm taking that off the top right there. Okay, so now I know without a shadow of a doubt, God made me. Here's the gifts He gave me. Here's the talents I have. Here's how I'm going to use them, and here's how I'm going to make money. Now, if you don't have the current talent or the skill set you need, go back to school and get it. It's that simple. All right, so now we've handled spiritual, we've handled professional, we've handled relational. Let's handle social. All right, who are you hanging out with, and do they get on your nerves? A lot of times we need to get rid of the friends we have. I mean, it's plain and simple. Just because they fit us in one period of life does not mean they fit us now. I know I recycle friends. I used to be a drug addict and an alcoholic. I could not take those friends with me to my new life of being a Christian and now as a pastor, right? So I had to leave them behind, but guess what? God had a whole new set of friends for me that didn't cause me anxiety. I didn't have to bail out of jail, and they didn't get on my nerves. Hey, it was a pretty good deal. So now I have people that go to bed at night, don't stress me out, and they're there for me when I need them, right? So, all right, so that's handled. All right, do you like how I'm doing this? Now let's get to something a lot of people don't talk about, sleep. If you do not sleep, you will be stressed out. Go ask any medical doctor, same thing. You got to get the right amount of hours that match you. If you don't get the right amount of hours that match you, then you're going to be stressed out because you're always tired, you're going to be grumpy, and then you're not going to be effective at work and life and marriage or anything else you do. So you got to get sleep. Then add on the fact that you got to eat right for your body. I'm not giving you a diet prescription here. Now, if you want one, look up my buddy Frank Tortorici. You can find him on Instagram, Facebook, you name it, he's out there. Also, you can probably look up Dr. Berg, and you can look up Thomas DeLauer. 3 guys that I watch on videos. Frank Tortorici is a good friend of mine. Frank is known as the guy who overcame Tourette's syndrome naturally. Frank was a bodybuilder. He's a model, actor. He lives in Idaho. So Frank's a really cool guy. Got a lot of information. He spent the last 20 years devoting his life to nutrition. So you can always pick up good tips from him. So sleep, diet, working out. When you're my age, the other day I was kidding my chiropractor. I said, man, I'd like to go back into powerlifting. He goes, instead of being Superman, why don't you try being Walkman, Yoga Man, and Swim Man? He goes, you got nothing to prove at your age. Don't break any more bones. Tell you what, why don't you just go for a nice mile or 2 walk every day, and we'll call it even and watch what you eat. I said, that's not any fun. He goes, well, considering your track record of injuries, I'm good with that, man. Just play it safe for me right here. All right, so as I'm taking these away, let's sit and do an inventory. Are any of the things that he's talking about right now part of my life? All right, so let's recap again. All right, so do we know God or no God? All right, check that box. It's yes or no. Am I eating right? Check that box. Sleeping? Maybe, maybe not. Am I in a stable relationship, or do I want one, or do I need to hone my skills to have one? Do I have a degree, not a degree? Am I in the right profession or not in the right profession, or do I need more skills to go with that? Am I detached from my parents, or are my parents still not trying to control me? That's the social aspect. Have I made terms with who I am? Have I decided who I am? What's my purpose? What's my plan? What's going to be my direction? Or am I fretting about this on a daily basis, unsure where to go? And then the final one is, and this is a lot of people's, if I want to buy a car, if I want to buy a house, I'm going to need money. The number one reason why people don't sleep and they're stressed out is money. Now, I like the people that say, well, money doesn't matter. Well, tell you what, tell your power bill people, tell your mortgage company, tell your car people, tell the grocer that money doesn't matter. You should be able to come in there, load that card up and not pay for it. And they're going to laugh hysterically as they call the police because you just shoplifted. Okay, so money does matter. Money's not the only thing, but it does matter. Does money make you happy? No, but it can fund your misery quite well. Without money, you're not going to be happy. Flat broke ain't no fun. Been there, been rich, been broke. I like rich better. So what are you going to do for money? Now, you don't want to do something you hate for money. So God's going to give you a skill. You turn that skill into money. What is it? How can you make money doing something you enjoy? I didn't say passion. Passion's way overrated. Stop doing your passion. Do something you're really good at that people will pay you for. If you just do things that you're passionate about, I'm passionate about comic books. I'm passionate about Star Trek. Neither one can I do for a living. So I'm great at behavior. That's what I do. That's what I get my degree in. So that's why we're doing this now. That's why I'm handling behavior, because that's what I do for a living. Plus, I enjoy it. So how are you going to turn your skill set into dollar bills? And how are you going to get the dollar bills you want? And you figure out the mathematical formula and then just go do it. Problem solved. All right. So that's anxiety. Now, I didn't handle the medical because I'm not a medical doctor. If you feel like what you have is medically induced, go see a doctor. I'm pro-doctor. I'm pro-medical field. So go get a professional to handle what you think you need handled. It's that simple. Simple blood, saliva, urine test. Just get a go get a run. Hey, man, sometimes being depressed or anxious, sometimes something to do with the heart, brain function, blood function. It could be one of your organs function. You never know. That's why I go every single year to see my doctor and get all my tests run. I want to make sure everything in this body is working right. All right, so if you have any questions, go to our website, wyppodcast.com, or if you have a problem, maybe I didn't cover it or I didn't cover this extensively enough, problem at wyppodcast.com. Also hit subscribe, it's right there. Now, maybe it's not you that's stressed out. Maybe you got a friend, you got a cousin, you got a relative, you got a mom or a dad. Make sure they see this video. We're doing these just to make sure that we can help people. That's why we do these. What's your problem? So you got a problem? Our goal is to get you a solution. It's that simple. All right, I'm Scot Ferrell. Thanks so much for dropping by today. Hey, man, we're going to keep these coming. So we eventually will hit something that maybe that you need to hear. All right, I'll see you next time. Take care.
Sweet and slow.